Hi guys, welcome to this session in Microsoft Excel. In this module, I want to show you how you can create an invoice with just two simple functions. So this is the finished article, and if I select an invoice number from this list, contents for that will appear in the invoice and the customer will appear here. Just select a different one, as you can see there. And then I've got a formula at the bottom there, picking the total sales from the amount column. So this is looking at information on this sheet. This is a formatted table. So formatted table means you've selected one of these options and applied it. That would mean that this would then grow. So if I just highlight this bottom line and pull that down a bit, as if another person has added some training, and I'll keep that invoice 134. I'll just pull that down so it's the same, and then the date, I'll leave that as a 23rd. I'll pull that down so it's the 23rd. So now I've got an invoice 134. If I go there, so when I drop the arrow down now, I get that extra invoice at the bottom, AB134. So let's have a look at how I've done this. If I create a new sheet and just basically copy the titles, I'll copy the titles from the other one. So I'll copy all of this. I'll copy that and just paste it on here. So we've got a starting point. So the data validation list is there, and there's a formula in this one. I'll just get rid of those two, and I'll just get rid of this data validation list. So there's nothing there. Go to home, color that in orange, so it's the same as before. Okay, now all of this needs just to be gridded off so we can see what we're doing. Got all borders up there. So what I had was, up the top here, I had the customer name and location. Now I used an XLOOKUP to get that information, so I'll do that on this one. So equals XL, pressing your tab key. So I'm going to look at the invoice number, which isn't there at the moment. So click on the invoice number, comma. I need to go to the customer table and select all the invoice list, like so, comma, and then highlight all of that area. That's the return area. That's what I want to see, the company and the location. And then if I come back, its next thing is if not found. So I'll do a comma after all of that, and then I'll just do blank blank and then close the bracket on that. If I tick that, it's just coming in blank because there's no invoice number. But to check it, I need to put an invoice number in here, and I did that through a data validation list. So if I go to data validation list, and then I need to select a list. In this case, I'll just go and select it, but what I've actually done on the other one is use the name range. Highlight that, then tick, bring that back, okay, and then select an invoice from that list. So now that comes in. So if there's no invoice number in there, it's blank. If you select an invoice number, it brings information in. So how I got this information was using the filter function. So if I type in there equals filter, press my tab key to get the bracket. So the array that I need to look at is in this customer table. So I want the invoice number and all of this information. So that is the array. I'm not selecting these two columns, comma, and then I want to include the invoice column where it equals, go back to the invoice, this, not that one, this cell. And then if I tick that, it brings in the information. Now these are not formatted to pounds, so I'll click on home and just format that to pounds, and these are not formatted to dates, so I'll just put those to date, short date. Then I need to do the sum function on this. Key command for sum is alt equals, so that'll just grab that list and click the tick like so. So now I can just select an invoice, any invoice, and it'll give me that information and the customer name. If I go for 33, gives me that information, customer name. Now if I go to this list and just come down to the bottom and add somebody else or another course, what you've got to watch out for is, so I've got invoice 136. Now on this sheet, the first one I had, that one will pick up 136 because that is the way I've done it. On the one I've just done now, if I drop the arrow down, that doesn't pick it up because I selected it. So what you have to do is use a named range. So in this one, if I go in this one and go to the data tab and data validation, you can see it's referring to a named range, invoice number. So if I cancel that for a minute and select here, invoice number, it's highlighting that column. So I've basically highlighted that column, called it invoice number. So on this second example, instead of having it looking at a list that I've selected, I could just refer to invoice number in here and it would be the same. So I'll go equals invoice number, okay, and then when I drop that down, I get the whole list. There is a blank line at the bottom, I'm not bothered about that. You could use a formula to get rid of that if you wanted to. Now if you don't know how to name columns, you basically, I'll do it on a different column. I'll just name this column customer. You highlight the column, this is the name box, you go up there, you type what you want to call it, so customer, and you press enter. You cannot have spaces and you have to physically press enter, otherwise it's not going to do it. And if it goes wrong and you need to delete it, you cannot delete it in there. You have to go to formulas, into the name manager, find it, either edit it down here or delete it and start again. That's if you've done it wrong. So that's all I want to talk about in this little video, how you can create a simple invoice sheet using XLOOKUP and the filter function with data validation to make it automated. I hope this video has been of use. Thank you for your time and I'll catch you on the next one.